Hi everyone. So I was wondering whether I would post this part. The reason being is because with these cards, they're I created them, but they can be very, if you think of crime, they can cross different stuff or cases, let's say. So firstly, welcome to part 5. If you're on this journey. Now, I know a lot of people might be a little bit impatient into, we just want to know where he is and stuff like that. There's something about allowing destiny and time to pan out, okay? And when you've sort of done a reading and you've said in summary everything, then continue to read on the same thing, like location. For me, as a psychic, or what I do, I find it muddles everything a little bit further. And especially if you start doubting, then I feel spirit can also then, I sometimes find that spirit can start to bring out cards and is like, why are you not trusting yourself? So I actually started, and you will see that I started without an introduction because I was like, am I going to post this? Because I don't want to create energy around something to make additional stories. And that's why you find I'm very, even in my readings, I don't find it easy to say, yes, that person's going to go to jail, etc. Although everyone who is guilty of anything needs to be held accountable, but I don't like to put out negative energy or anything like that. I'm very sensitive in these cases. And I don't just sit here and then suddenly pull cards and post. I do it with integrity, and I take the spirit world very seriously. So what I did here is I held the cards I created and I said, please, Sebastian, if you want to come through, or spirit, or for my psychic good, let the cards of the location fall out. And relevance. And you saw that I shuffled a couple of times, and then towards the end I was like, this is the last 2 shuffles and then I'm going to stop. And so I did. And it can't lie, I believe I got these cards in the first reading, and I got earth element. I do get a bridge, I do get potential water. Now that could be where he is. Now with this frozen and cold weather, I think I mentioned it before, and I mentioned it in the reading, and I mentioned it when we saw in this card, the 5 of Cups, in the channeling. You remember Sebastian was like, yes, you're right. And now I'm being called to where I mentioned also his thigh having an injury or a bruising or whatever, as well as the other areas I mentioned. Anyway, there's a card in here which I've pulled out a couple of times. And I mentioned it looks like it was cold. He was cold. I also, came to know that his mother, okay, disclaimer, this is all for entertainment purposes only. Please understand why this disclaimer is stated, and law enforcement are there to hold people accountable. This is my opinion. It's not based on law or facts. Use your own fact finding, research, etc. Now I lost what I wanted to say. Oh dear. Yes, cold weather. When I was hearing that, I was like, I wonder if he at some stage just before being taken out, taken to where he was buried or placed, there was also a keeping of his body in like an air vent or an AC vent where there's cool weather. Either way, where he was, it was cold on that day. Even if during the days prior the weather was good, it was low temperatures when he was put out. But the installation role that I got for the mother really had me questioning if that was a potential, because it also preserves the body, and the smell, I believe, doesn't come out straight away. But it would have been preserved for a long time, because in my first reading, you know, when it was reported him missing, that was not the time of him missing. It had occurred in the evening, it had occurred prior. Look what we have here. Burial. We've got the cold weather, and we've got the feminine energy. I mean, even if someone wanted to read and change, you know, sort of need to change their first reading, that can happen. You know, energies can get mixed. And I know that a lot of psychics have actually changed their reading from him being missing and held in a neighbor nearby, or an old woman or something like that. And maybe he is. So this is where I get, because I also wanted to state that pond, he is not in that pond. He is not in the pond. I'm not saying anything else of a water base, but he's not in that pond. I also go back to the channeling where it was like yes but no in the, about the area, and go forward. And when I think of forward, we can think of north, but I actually see it from the home going kind of, well, if I do like that, it's north, but it's kind of like when you see the map, it's going south. So either way, I feel like they're circling in sort of the right area, not the pond land, but not quite hitting the target. I also want to mention, I mentioned about the movement, and I think I won't be surprised, because I mentioned it, that the movement they're currently doing is because in case something is found out and, you know, law enforcement come after certain people who are guilty, please understand what I'm stating, they're easier to get on the move. And it won't be difficult to be a catch, but it won't be like, oh, they will last here, so we'll go here. If you understand what I mean, or they live here, so we'll go here, or whoever needs to be taken from that location or held for investigation or arrest or whatever. I still feel that energy. So, you know, here we go with these cards here. Can't lie really, can it? Now, I had a comment in the last reading, part 4? And it was very clear in that reading that I felt a very heavy Sagittarius energy. And if it's correct, I was told Sebastian is a Sagittarius. So that made sense, because we also saw Chris and the dad's energy in the mother's energy, and in her energy check-in, there was a lot coming forward from the past, and that was triggered, if I remember the placement of cards, of Sebastian's energy. So if I know Sebastian's full date of birth, I can look a little bit further into astrology, but I felt it was interesting just for me to check a few things with the basis of him being a Sagittarius. Now this can change at certain elements, but just take it on a brief energy, you know. I also feel like there was heavy Aquarius. Remember, I got the card and I was like, the spirit is saying, I'm being directed to think of an Aquarius energy as opposed, and secondary, the meaning of the card. So there's something heavy about Aquarius energy. Someone with Aquarius energy And I feel like it's either an elder female energy, or it could be a location. So an astrology of Aquarius energy of a location, or somebody who has heavy Aquarius energy. That would be an aid to a breakthrough. So what do I mean is they're playing a positive part in this case. Secondly, I feel like the mother has possibly a heavy Cancer degree or placement in her chart, and I'm not really sure. Okay. Again, disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. So let's just look at if Sebastian is a Sagittarius with a rising as well. Now, it was around the 25th of February, reported 26th of February. Now, if we go back a few days, this would mean that that month might have been tricky in terms of emotional and mental balancement of Sebastian. There's a conflict there that could occur with a third house. There could be a conflict in terms of also communicating what he needed to communicate, and so that could lead to emotional, mental frustration. And so what could this mean? This could mean that that could have been a challenging 3 weeks within the home in terms of, you know, when we're dealing with autistic children or children that have, how can I say it, such vulnerabilities or disabilities, or, you know, whatever could be a challenging element, even a lack of communication, or communication disabilities, or what's the word I'm looking for? I think you understand what I mean. It can be very difficult to manage and always have the patience, but you know, you have to have that patience. Also, this could mean that the energy around him was also not mentally and emotionally balanced, and sometimes conflicted. And I think we felt that in my readings, and we felt that in the channeling I did, where it was clear that he couldn't sometimes understand where there'd be a frustration. Like there was the mental and the emotional imbalances. And I think that is, I've mentioned it, very evident in this case, and in probably what made the snap, and also for a while of the elements that I said could tie in with the case, primary and secondary, mental and emotional. So that's interesting. Now, as we hit a few days prior to the 26th, we're kind of overlapping that energy into another energy. Now, the energy that we move into, I would say from like 23rd, 24th going into, was all focused around your home. And it's about your home, it's about your family, and it's also your final place to rest. I don't mean you rest at home, it's basically your end. It could be the final place of, like, you know, you die and then your place to rest. I don't mean that you're buried at home, but you understand what I'm stating, which is really, from what I've been calculating on the basis that I said, it's tying up with the readings. There would have also been an impact in the weeks that I said were leading up, and before we go through those overlaps, that possibly Sebastian was feeling some downloads, or starting to maybe understand, not through language but through psyche, I'm not saying that he was psychic, but through psyche, maybe a little bit more, maybe, you know, for example, if there, I'm not stating this is the case, if there's outbursts that this doesn't seem right, 1 minute where I'm loved, I have this, then suddenly there's a bit of an outburst, or feelings that he, there was a lack of safety coming up. There could have been, again, a lot of mental imbalancements happening or occurring. And there could have been questioning about his mental health or any energy around him about mental health. Then we have, as we cross over into the energy of the home, we have the energy of the mother potent, the energy of emotional nurturing energy that is potent. Again, it brings us back to the feminine energy. Now, if I was a forensic astrologist, I'd probably look, like I said, on certain signs, but also certain planet lines that could have a major impact. It could also mean if there's no breakthrough within, you know, I've mentioned a date, if there's no significant breakthrough by this time, you know, I wouldn't be surprised. Again, I don't want to say this because I don't have his full astrology, but around the end of June into July, and then again, very high potential breakthrough around the 3rd week of August going into September. But I think there's going to be a breakthrough. Okay, I do think there's a breakthrough. Something else that I was getting when I keep going to know-how, professional know-how, is SAS. Now, I was thinking maybe SAS is a secret agent or something, and then it came to me, actually, it's kind of like software service, etc. So this, I feel the energy ties in with either the police or law enforcement need to get onto that kind of thing to get the digital evidence or tracking or whatever. But I also feel the mother has some sort of know-how of this. Obviously, the father probably does, being in law enforcement, but I think the mother kind of knows as well. And it might come from the father, but I think she has some kind of background that gives her that insight. So data analytics is really needed here. You know, the shoes is a big error that was made in this case in terms of cover up. There also seems to, what I picked up on, there really seemed to be a concern, although it was kind of like covered really well in trying to deceive or move the energy away, in terms of the TBI being called for, and thank you to everyone that broke that down for me, for the incident of being beaten with the belt. And I don't believe it was a one-time thing. There was like a preempt, to conceal, to lie, being asked about it, which showed a concern over and above being asked of like what happened and what happened that could tie into the case. Now, while I'm talking, I've opened the energy, maybe it's a bit late, that if you seem to get, I've opened the energy with intention, if you get to download in the next few minutes that you think could be significant or not significant, or anything you wish to say, add it in the comments. So where I say there could be like a storing of event or something, this could be that he is moved. He was moved, right, you know, but not buried and moved and upheavaled and moved. It was just kind of like he was put in a place for an hour or two or something, and then when they felt they had their ducks in the row, he, you know, was moved. And I don't know if there's getting an interconnect with Elijah or Sebastian, but one thing with Sebastian, if they move Sebastian now in a panic, this is going to be the forefront of whoever was involved in this crime. This is going to be the fall of that. Now with Elijah, I do want to say that if Elijah's found in water, he was moved from where he was originally placed. Yes, they're in jail, Elijah Vo, and I think somebody who, you know, I said there was other parties there at the house, would have moved him from where he was placed into a larger open water area. If we go back to the astrology for Sebastian, there's also an element we were heading into of the lack of clarity of emotions and of the emotional balance in the primary environment. Parent relationships. Can you see all these dynamics tying in with the reading? Very much tying in, basically. The strong emotional roots of home and safety, and then the place of an energy of between, I would say that, I'm not saying it happened on the 23rd, the energy of the shift would have been around the 23rd, 24th, and it takes us all the way up until April, sort of 22nd, 23rd, if I'm correct. That energy is very, hang on a sec. March, okay, into March. 23rd, 24th Feb, because he was 26, into a month later, into March. Was very strong. I still get that dad is very key in this. And there's something about the time frame being at destiny, of being planned out. What I mean by that, you know, it's there, it's just focus, but it could mean that, like I said, they're circling in an area, but they're not quite hitting it, and it's all at God's will when people are to be found, and he will be found. So let's just now check in with the stepfather's energy like I had promised. I hope everybody is well. You know what I was thinking, you know, Elijah Vu's case is not getting as much social media, but that might be because two people that could be heavily accountable, at least one definitely is already in prison. But it is a case that really frustrates me, and I might do a second reading, so I'm not going to state why. But it could have been avoided, and there was a lot of neglect, and even people who've come forward, please find our little Elijah is doing did my head in, because let me leave it if I go into another reading so I don't mix the energies. But what I was getting to is that some cases get broader media and social media attention, and it's very interesting because even Elijah's a horrific case, and so is Madeline, but it's probably because Sebastian doesn't have someone held accountable, even if it's in terms of a questioning so far. I was stopped. The other thing I wanted to say, where I mentioned that the stepfather and mother, the love, before someone says something, it doesn't mean that I believe the relationship is healthy, but you know, you can have an unhealthy love relationship, but there's love in an unhealthy way. Just in case someone wants to make a little bit of drama on that. This reminds me of the instinct of let's get in the van and kind of like we need to be on the move. Or like get ready for instinct. Despondence in reverse. Any more, Spirit, please? I've got Sebastian coming through and it's like, why are you effing wasting your time on this energy? Impartiality. This is where I said that he's really mirroring the cover-up, where he should be in a more neutral space. That's if he didn't have direct hands in. He's got hands in, but indirect. There's something about the throat chakra I'm going to pick up in my channeling. And when I say throat chakra, look at that, the confirmation. I think we had expansion for someone else. So there's a lack of being in a neutral space here, whether it's being truthful, holding space for the truth, a lack of neutral energy. Trickery, we know what that's about. And the despondence card in reverse here is really not accepting circumstances, and instead of taking, is taking action, because despondence in the upright is actually you need to take action. So this is actually movement, and I got it with the instinct, movement. Despondence in upright is actually not taking action, but you need to take action. Here it's taking action. I think on the lookout of when to take action. Not accepting the circumstances. But also with this despondence energy and these energies, it means there's a change coming in. There's a revelation coming in, but it's in reverse, so there's still a bit of time. Remember my Queen of Swords, she's ready to pull up her sword and cut through the bullshit, but not just quite yet. And in the background, we've got the Hawk of TBI watching, although we don't think so. The only way in this upright card would be coming out of stagnation, but they are not in stagnation. I think he's in, fight, flight, or freeze. He's in fight or flight. He's not in freeze. I feel like he's very much on his nerves, on the edge. Let's look into this. I won't be surprised as well if he went on the move, if the mum was questioned. Not that he will be difficult to be found. The Sun card. His current energy is the new chapter that they were hoping for, or the future seems to be not there at the moment. One second, let me just tap in a bit more. I think he was hoping for certain individuals to help bring a balance into kind of not the success, but and not necessarily the image, but not to help. The best way I can put this is manage the image or what the storyline is out there. That has not gone to plan, and I don't think the individuals of working together is occurring, and this could be work colleagues or work, or could be other individuals maybe coming forward to help or speak something that could help in this scenario. He feels some sort of betrayal, but he wanted a breakthrough on that. Two of Wands in reverse is when, you know, the plan has not gone according to plan. In the current energy, I'm not saying originally, but originally it could be, you know, there was that, you know, maybe they had a plan for a different kind of route into this outcome or a different outcome, and it didn't go according to plan. But at the moment, something is not moving forward according to plan, and there is not the movement of the new chapter around the new family unit or the family unit. That is on hold. It's not gone forward as planned, what they'd hoped for. Yes, I've got it there. What they'd manifested for. Oh, how did this get in this deck? I've got a couple of cards from the old deck, look. This is from a different deck. I'm not sure how they got in here. It's from this deck. Major Cancer energy here. Let's just go through the main energies that are surrounding this energy right now. We've got Leo, we've got Gemini, some would say Virgo as well. We've got Capricorn, that's very heavy, and we have Cancer. There's a manipulation here. There's a manipulation to move forward in kind of the happiness of a gift, you know, sort of your ultimate happiness. There's been a manipulation on that. Yeah. Onto the new chapter moving forward. And communication around the new chapter of wanting to move forward needs to be really balanced. because of what is happening here. This is quite dark energy, manipulation. We've got the Cancer energy again of moving forward and having, this is very much, they're on the move, by the way. Can you see how much movement we've got? We've got movement, movement, movement. They are on the move. And there is anxiety here. I was going to place that in reverse, Seven of Swords. Choices on how to present themselves and defend themselves is very key during this time, along with the communication. Being defensive, but I don't think they see this part, but you've got to be careful on how defensive you become. There's fear and there's resentment here, and we need to be careful on how, when I say we need to be careful, I'm just saying in general the thoughts of this energy on how we present ourselves, not showing the fear, but there is a bit of resentment to this situation because it's not turned out how it should have planned. And that's why I feel there was a snapping. I said it wasn't premeditated. There was thoughts of how are we gonna, you know, have our chapter, but it wasn't premeditated for this, because let's say if they wanted Sebastian out the way, if Sebastian was going to the father in the summer, it wasn't long to wait. The Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords would directly mean trickery, but here Spirit also wants me to kind of look into it in a reversed angle with the Two of Swords. Not wanting to see things clearly because there's fear and there's also a sense of resentment. A lot of anxiety, and there is sleepless nights that he is having. You know, it's difficult for him to decide something with logic. And obviously he can't listen to the voice within, because the voice within is going to be, it's your heart, it's your intuition, it's going to be from a place of good. So that is tearing, also that is kind of an imbalancement. And this in reverse, you know, with these energies is kind of like feeling quite helpless. And seeing that there could be very much roadblocks at the moment. And also, I think there's an element of them actually feeling law enforcement are closer to it than they are. You understand what I mean? So I think he's on the thing of like any minute now, and it could be any minute now, but I think it's a bit longer than what he's, so let's say it's 5 minutes, he's at like, it's 30 seconds. And so with that energy, basically, there's impetuous behavior with a deer of consequences here as well. And trying as much as they can to ignore some things, because it's getting them in this energy. And this card very much ties in with the trickery. Interesting energy. Let me just look at this a minute, which I've already explained the energy here, but 1 second. Here's our Queen of Swords. How do we give a little bit in this situation so that we receive a balance of the lens not being fully focused on us at certain times from law enforcement? At the same time, there's choices around, in this energy, there's choices around the cover-up of Sebastian down to, you know, his partner and him. And hoping there's some sort of change in the circumstances. Now, what's interesting here is that all of them could have come out in reverse. A lot of reversals, apart from the Magician. Which also in this energy would mean that there's an energy here really needing to know that you need to be flexible when things don't go your way. And so I wonder, I don't know if I've got space, I've remembered that I wanted to do the energy check between them both. But this could be in their current energy together. And then the Wheel of Fortune. Things are about to change, right? In reverse, that would be like things are likely to take a downward turn. Although that obviously, and we can see that he's expecting this, but I think there's a hope for some sort of balance to come in and give more time. And there's a need here within this energy not to manipulate and to fight against it. Very mixed energy here. Let me just check if I've got time to check the current energy between them at this moment in time. I feel like I've been talking for a while. Okay, I think I've got a few minutes. Let me do that really quickly. Let's just take this one from, no, it's not that one, it's this one. And this one. Okay, because we're going to use this deck. Just look at these a moment. Knight of Pentacles, a slow practical plan. I'll just put these on the side so that it's easier for you to see the cards. Here we got the Seven of Swords at first, the Ace of Swords, the Two of Wands, the plan in the upright now, and the Eight of Wands. They're communicating quite a lot, okay? There's a lot of communication between them, all right? I think there's a lot of communication in terms of is one of us going to get caught? Or are we both? Or is one of us, and what does someone else do? Does someone else try to go into hiding? They're communicating a lot. There's clear communication here. There's possibly a practical plan. Future, something. My card just fell, sorry. Yeah, Page of Wands. If one of them gets caught, what is the future practical plan here? Does the other one wave their sword and still goes that they're not guilty and gets away? Or not? Could this be the end of the relationship? I just saw the Knight of Wands. Yeah, see? Or does the other one come to one's rescue? Does the other one come to the other one's rescue? How can we hold on to our love and our chapter, our marriage, our life together? How can we hold on to that? The future, our future. Remember, I was saying possibly starting a new, an addition to the family. A lot of inner strength would be needed. There is an element of feeling a bit helplessness as well, and feeling an outsider, feeling that they don't have support of anyone else. It's just those two. So at the moment, I don't think they're arguing. And looking at the loss, which could potentially be not only what they've lost, but having, you know, one of them, you know, separated. And how can that new beginning together once justice comes into balance be created? From past action, Sagittarius energy. I feel that that's Sagittarius energy. Again, I put Page of Cups to be Sebastian. So I wouldn't say they're currently arguing. I mean, there might be days, but a lot of thought here. I'm going to leave it here, everyone. Obviously, energy can change from time to time. Please do understand that. I mean, we could do an energy check-in in a couple of days. It could be very different, and that's why I've done these energy check-ins anyway, because I think it's interesting to see what we get through. Take care, stay blessed. Don't forget to like, support, engage. If you like the content on the channel, subscribe, and stay blessed. Bye-bye for now.